Hello, what's up guys? So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto had more family out there, but he didn't know, Naruto X Harem, Part 2. Hope you'll enjoy this video. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic, JAYSEN, link is in the description, and also subscribe to my channel, and like this video. Let's begin the video. Chunin Exam Stadium. It was around noon, as nearly everyone in the village, and several foreign shinobi, and dignitaries were in attendance, eagerly awaiting the start of the third and final phase of the Chunin exams. Sarutobi, flanked by Jiraiya and Tsunade, made his appearance in the Kage's box along with the Kazekage and his two bodyguards. The two Kage greeted each other formally and sat down to get the ball rolling. Underneath the disguise, Orochimaru was livid with rage. What are they doing here? Now, this will be much harder, he inwardly snarled before turning to the chronologically advanced Hokage. A fine crop of genin this year, Hokage Dano. My son Gara, the Hyuga boy, and the Uchiha are in one group. Quite exciting, he said coolly. Sarutobi smirked, as he saw one genin in particular. As always, overlooking those that aren't natural geniuses due to arrogance. I should have been a better teacher, but I'll take whatever advantage I can get, yes. But I wouldn't be surprised if another contestant surprises us yet again, he casually mentioned, causing the wind shadow to give him a puzzled look. He couldn't mean, Orochimaru wondered, as the exams began. Sarutobi stood up to address the crowd. To all that have gathered here today, welcome to the final stage of the Chunin exams. Today, we will see the display of skills these young genin have to show us, and see who among them will be chosen for the honor of advancement to the rank of Chunin. The crowd roared in applause in response to his announcement, causing his two former students to snicker. You still know how to whip up a crowd, sensei, Jiraiya chuckled. Yes, I've still got it, Sarutobi replied with a smirk. Down in the stands, the Ryuzanpaku gang plus Mio and Renka, Hayashi with his daughters, Tenman, and Raichi were all waiting with anticipation for Naruto's first match, and were talking amongst themselves. Hinata, Renka, and Raichi got their first glimpse of Naruto's new ensemble, and blushed prettily at the sight. Wow, Naruto-kun looks good in these clothes, Hinata thought. He was cute before, but now he looks kind of heroic, Raichi thought, as her blush got darker. Down in the arena, his new ensemble caught the eye of another kunoichi. Is that the loudmouth shrimp from last month? He's looking pretty scrumptious. I mean, good. A certain snake mistress was also taking in the young genin with interest. I wish they made him like that when I was his age. Nearby, the members of the rookies that didn't make it were sitting together, Sakura letting her thoughts be known on Naruto's new look. That baka, if he thinks he can look even half as good as Sasuke-kun, he's even more of a loser than I thought. He'll never beat Niji. Never mind Sasuke-kun. The forehead terror ran out, completely embarrassing Ino, who was sitting next to her. Sakura, that's kind of mean. I mean, he's your teammate. I'd never treat Shikamaru or Chuji like that. Ino tried to reason with her to no avail. However, Ino had to admit that Naruto looked far better in this new outfit. Where was he hiding those muscles at? I'm starting to see what Hinata sees now, the blonde girl thought. Why stick up for those losers? I mean, it's not like they're Sasuke-kun or even have feelings or anything stupid like that, the pink-haired harpy countered. Next to Ino, Chuji was getting really pissed at Sakura for talking about his friends like that, but Ino put a hand on his shoulder to keep him from caving her face in. He, Shika, and Naruto hung out in the academy all the time, and Naruto wasn't really all that bad. Mio was the one to hear her rantings, and nearly ended her existence on the spot, but her grandfather held her back, saying that such a person was beneath her if she would so willingly slander and dishonor her comrades. Down in the arena, Naruto was looking around for Sasuke, but he was nowhere to be found along with his useless ex-sensei. Shikamaru noticed him looking around. Sasuke's not here. Know where he is, Naruto? Shika asked. The last thing he expected was for Naruto to scowl, and actually leak a hint of ki at the mere mention of his ex-teammate, and ex-sensei if he had any say in it. No, I don't, Naruto replied curtly. Genmai Shiranui, the replacement examiner, turned to them. Hey Pop Tall, all of these people are here to see you, so don't disappoint them. He then cleared his throat to announce the first match. First match of the finals, Niji Hyuga vs Naruto Uzumaki, he bellowed. The other fighters leapt into the contestants' box while Naruto and Niji remained. Tenten was sitting near the others up in the stands with her sensei, as she shook her head. Naruto certainly looks stronger than before, but he just can't beat Niji. He's too strong, she said aloud. Really? Why do you think that? Raichi asked, surprising her. Well, Niji was the rookie of the year for our year, from a famous and powerful clan, and he's a genius, she replied. Oh, is that all? Isn't one's worth decided on who they are inside? That's what Uncle Guy and my 2 sen always taught me, that geniuses are never what they're cracked up to be. Besides, Naruto-kun's a tough customer, too. I've got faith in him, Raichi replied with a wide grin. This left Tenten grasping for answers, but drove home one fact that she didn't want to face. She sounded just as bad as those fangirls she despised. Uncle Guy, hello, where's Lee? Asked the blonde girl in pigtails upon spotting her uncle. Oh, Reichi-chan, how are you, and your father doing? As for Lee-kun, he is still resting in the hospital today, saving up his youthful vigor to heal faster, Guy proclaimed. That's nice. Daddy's sitting over there if you want to talk to him, Reichi told him cheerfully, pointing him out. Tenten watches all of this with a weirded out look on her face. You're related to Guy-sensei and Lee? You don't look anything like them, she exclaimed. Oh, Lee-kun is my cousin, she explained, as she left to rejoin the Ryazanpaku group. I didn't know you had a nephew and niece, sensei? Tenten asked. I do. I also helped her fiancé train a little for the finals today. Niji is facing him, Guy told her. Naruto? He's her fiancé? Tenten whispered. Tenten remembered the girl from the academy. Reichi was in her class, and was just below her in the class rankings for Kunoichi of the year, and the only person to have ever beat Niji in a spar. She remembered that he took it pretty badly, constantly challenging her to duels to save face, and that she always rejected him. For some time, Tenten thought that Niji was crushing on her due to how much he hounded her for a fight, but it was just Niji being a sore loser in the end. Hell, the girl didn't even bat an eye at the Uchiha that everyone seemed to fall apart over, as sickening as it was to see. From what she heard, Sasuke was trying to ensnare her into a betrothal contract, but Reichi's family, mainly her father, and Reichi herself, vehemently refused. She was the sort of girl that didn't care for titles or status, seemingly drawn towards another person in the Uchiha's class, the dead last. It was finally time for the match to start, as Niji and Naruto faced one another. The tension in the air was thick. You could cut it with a knife thick, as the two glared at each other. Niji had been told by the Elder Council that if he defeated Naruto, and Hinata was married off, he would take her place, as the heir to the family. That meant that his cursed seal would come off. He'd be damned if he missed out on both trashing a loser, getting rid of Hinata, and getting rid of his cursed seal all at once. For Naruto, the stakes were even higher. He knew that Niji would not stop at only defeat. Niji will kill him if given the chance, not to mention that Hinata's future was riding on how well he performed that day. No, Niji will have to be defeated, destroyed if he had to, but either way, he had to go. Niji decided to call out his victory right off the bat. Fate has already decreed me to be the winner of our match, dead last. If you decide to fight anyway, I'll just kill you, and have Hinata-sama watch as you die. I couldn't care less whose bed she winds up in after this, Niji sneered, making Naruto's blood boil. Thankfully, his lessons with Akasame and Kensei taught him patience, and from Sakaki how to channel his anger properly. No, he won't let Niji get him riled up, and start playing his game. No, sir. Instead, the blonde sucked in a deep breath, and let it out, using some breathing control exercises taught to him by the masters before he replied. No, I will not allow anything to happen to Hinata-chan. She is very special to me, and I will not fail her when she needs me the most, so bring it on, but munch. Naruto replied calmly at first, but let out a razor-sharp and controlled burst of ki at the end that made Niji flinch. Alright you two, enough trash talk. Fight, Genma announced, leaping out of the way of any potential blows. Niji didn't like having his feathers and confidence ruffled, so he decided to kill Naruto right now, and save some face. As he charged in, some of Kensei's words came back to him. Naruto-chan, when facing the Jukin, it is best to just avoid the attack completely. Even a glancing blow could prove fatal if there is enough chakra in it, and in the right spot. To that end, he was trained to evade, and counter, and snaring the attacking limbs if possible. Luckily, Shigeru's chainmail armor was able to be reinforced by his own chakra, and since his chakra force is unlike anyone else's due to his unique circumstances, that was something he had by the ass ton. For now, he didn't want to let that nasty little surprise out now, did he? That would ruin the fun of owning this pompous. Sure enough, Niji's palm thrust was aimed right at his heart. Naruto slipped in low, allowing the blow to pass over him, as he grabbed the arm, and wrenched it, as hard as he could. This resulted in Niji's shoulder being forcefully yanked from its socket, and limited his effectiveness greatly. Next, Naruto chambered a roundhouse kick that impacted on Niji's lower ribs, cracking a few of them, and bruising the rest. The Hyuga prodigy stumbled back, as he tried to regain his bearings. How was it possible for someone that struggled to defeat Kiba in the prelims to go toe-to-toe with him thus far? This new Naruto was dangerously skilled, and knows about the Jukin from the way he countered. He then watched, as Naruto slipped in a familiar stance, one that he'd seen Guy use before. Hey dope, where did you learn that style? Niji demanded. It's none of your business, Naruto replied. His patience had worn out when Niji threatened to take Hinata from him. This asshole was going down. Niji popped his shoulder back into place to continue fighting through the pain, as he began a barrage of super fast thrusts, too fast for Naruto to catch and counter like before. After a moment of being bombarded, Niji finally scored a direct hit to Naruto's abdomen. Wolf there, time for phase 2, he thought. The first phase was to attack Niji's limbs while letting him think his Jukin was still effective. Now, the second phase was complete, and total annihilation. Thanks to Shigeru's armor, he was nearly immune to the Jukin. From there, Niji used the hack Rokujiansho to put Naruto out of business for good. After the rain of blows, Naruto lay on his back, seemingly down for the count to the horror of his friends and family. However, the Raizampaka crowd was calm. They knew what Naruto had in mind. Proctor-san calls the match. That trash is done for, Niji scoffed, but was met with silence. Didn't you hear me? I said, he yelled, only to get interrupted by the sound of laughing. Looking around, he saw that the laughing was coming from Naruto, who was slowly getting up and brushing himself off like nothing happened. Niji was now getting very worried. He knew he had executed the 64 palms perfectly, but Naruto just stood right up and shrugged it off like it was nothing. Thanks for the message, Niji-chan, but I like Hinata-chan's better. At least she can pack a wallop with her attacks, not like your stupid little love taps. Naruto taunted, goading Niji into a rage. As his great-uncle told him, anger makes one sloppy and careless. Niji screamed in rage as he charged Naruto again, but Naruto was ready for him this time. After deflecting Niji's attacks, he opened up with a series of blows from the Hakkyukyuken style. Palm to the face here, reverse kick to the stomach there. All of it ending with the first technique that Kansei showed him after cheering him up. Shitenshu, a dual-palmed attack, using his entire body like a living piston, sent the prodigy flying away and rolling to a stop some 10 yards away. Shocked faces dotted the crowd at what the dead last had pulled off. He was beating the Hyuga genius like he owed him money, and shrugged off the most powerful form of taijutsu the world had ever known. However, loud cheering could be heard from a couple of places. Way to go, Otodokeyun, Mio. That's how it's done. That's our future husband. Raichi, Renka, and Hinata. Go Naruto Keyun, fight with the flames of youth. Come on, you know who this is. You can do it, Naruto. Chuji, come on GKI, quit farting around and finish this punk. Sakaki, obviously. APA, go Naruto-chan. Really? Who else do you think talks like this? Kensei was obviously proud that Naruto had all but mastered the Shitenshu to be able to pull it off like he did, and so quickly too. Niji stood up and was waiting for Naruto to make his move. Naruto, wanting to put Niji down for good, charged right in. Hinata saw what was happening, the chakra building around her cousin. Naruto Keyun, no, she screamed, but it was too late. Niji smirked as he released chakra from every point on his body and began to spin. Kaiten! The rapidly rotating dome of chakra exploded out and slammed into the blonde, tossing him back. He recovered in the air and began to think of a counter-strategy. Up in the stands, Hayashi was stunned that his nephew knew that technique. That was supposed to be a main house-only move. The Elder Council had to have taught him that. He reasoned. The council will have much to answer for once this was all over. He could only hope that his future son-in-law could find some weakness in the exploit. That was all chakra. I think it's time to unleash the Rasengan, he decided. Making a quick Kage Bunshin, he charged up one of his mini-cyclones and charged in to see which was stronger. Rasengan met Kaiten, both of them struggling for dominance. Finally, Naruto was forcefully thrown away, his Rasengan dispelled. Damn, I need more force, he muttered, racking his brain for anything that could help him. Finally, he remembered back during his training, he created something that might work. Flashback. Akasame had been watching him train, and raised an eyebrow at what his student had done and accomplished. He noticed that he combined the movements for all of the martial arts he'd been taught into one single blow, and walked over to the dumbfounded boy. Naruto-kun, do you even realize what you just did? He asked calmly. No, Akasame-sensei, he replied, thinking he'd done something wrong. The mustachios sighed. They were still having a rough time breaking him of feeling that every time they stopped him he did something to anger them. Naruto-kun, I want you to try what you just did again on another target. Naruto gulped, but wanted to succeed. Hiya, he roared, as he repeated the process again, only this time adding more force into the blow. The training post was nearly reduced to sawdust, as Naruto pulled back his fist, looking in awe, as Akasame smiled. What you just did was combine the basic movements for all of our styles into one blow, exponentially increasing the power of the punch. Now, all martial arts have a rhythm of sorts, but this had no rhythm at all, making the blow extremely difficult to predict or perceive. I think you just created your signature technique, unique to only you. I'm proud of you. The wiry jujutsu master applauded him. Flashback end. I never even called it no rhythm, zero beaten Yubioshi, he mentally exclaimed, as he charged up another Rasengan. Niji noticed, and scoffed at his efforts. A wasted effort, trash, but try if you will. None can break through this, the ultimate defense of the Hyuga. Yeah, just keep talking, jackass, Naruto thought, as he got himself ready for another attack run. Naruto roared, as he barreled down on Niji. Worthless, Niji yelled. Kaiten! Naruto stopped just shy of the shell of rotating chakra, and got into his stance, then, combining all that he was taught, thrust the mini-cyclone at the Kaiten. Mubyoshi Rasengan. With multiple times the force from before, the Rasengan broke through the Kaiten with force to spare, hitting its intended target, and sending him flying end over end, finally impacting the arena floor, and leaving Niji near unconscious in a smoking crater. How it was your destiny to die at my hand. How did a failure like you beat me? Niji asked, his breathing ragged. If fate decided everything, I wouldn't even be alive right now. Quit being such a damn baby, and take some responsibility for your life instead of letting everyone boss you around, Naruto replied harshly. You don't know what it's like to carry a seal that controls your life against your will, Niji shouted angrily. I do know, you son of a bitch. More than you could ever imagine. Naruto trailed off, clutching his stomach, where the Kyuubi seal resided. Genma smirked. He's a hell of a kid. The Force sure picked the right kid for the job, he whispered with a grin, as he raised Naruto's arm. Winner Naruto Uzumaki. The entire crowd was awestruck. The dead last had defeated the genius completely, totally, utterly. He also broke through the most powerful defensive technique they knew of to do it with a move that was thought to be lost with their beloved Yondaime. Akasane was smiling down on his student. He was the one who helped Naruto develop the move he just used, and thought of the name. Mubyoshi? Zero rhythm, huh? It fits, Naruto-kun. It definitely fits. The Hyuga Council was livid with the fact that with all that they did to tip the scales in their favor, Naruto still won. They just couldn't believe it. Now, their plans to get Hinata out of the way were ruined, and Hayashi's political power within the clan was secured, along with his choice of heir. Hayashi, on the other hand, was extremely proud of Naruto for coming through for his daughter, fighting with all of his heart for her sake. His belief that Naruto would be a good husband for his daughter was reinforced. He stood up, and left to go talk to his misguided nephew, to tell him the truth. Hinata was crying happily, their future together now assured. The other two girls were glad that Hinata wouldn't be taken from them. Elsewhere in the stands, two Chunin were also impressed with the young blonde, and the skills he showed in beating a Hyuga at their own game. The squirt's not half bad, at Takeda? A short, petite red-headed young woman of at least 18 commented. Yeah, there was really something out there. He has the right attitude, in that he's not an arrogant jerk. I might want to work with him if he makes Chunin. What do you think, Chibi-chan? Kizara Nanjo's much taller companion, Takeda Iki, called out. Don't call me Chibi-chan, you jerk. But yeah, he might be fun to work with, she admonished, but also agreed. Ino and Shuji couldn't believe what they just saw. This new Naruto was certainly a sight to behold. He carried himself differently, with more confidence, and a determined gait. Although, Ino caught that bit about an unwanted seal. Maybe that's what my dad was trying to tell me back when he asked me to be Naruto's friend. But what kind of seal could be so awful, as to have the whole village hate him over it? What happened to you, Naruto? Sakura in her seat just huffed in annoyance. I don't see what's so special. Sasuke-kun could have done it, too. He would have been better than that baka, she said, making everyone around her roll their eyes in annoyance. Tenten had to scrape her jaw off of the ground. No way Niji lost, she stammered out. See what I meant about geniuses, right? She chirped with a wink, as she made her way over to the contestants' box to see him, Renka, and Hinata hot on her heels. Mio watched her cousin, and little brother, as he leapt back up into the contestants' box. She was very proud of how far he had come in only a month with them. When he first came to them, his form was a real mess, his psyche was nearly damaged beyond repair, and his control was shot, yet he could still put up quite a fight. Now, she wasn't too sure that if he was going all out that she could match him before long. She knew about the demon within him, and the distinct advantages it gave him, such as his superhuman stamina, endurance, and his super healing. A good night's rest would fix nearly anything, no matter what the masters did to him, and he'd bounce right back, a little stronger than before. Tsunade and Jiraiya watched their godchild with pride. They were angry with both the village, and themselves, the village for keeping them away from him, Tsunade at herself for not bothering to check for herself, and Jiraiya for not being able to do more. But that was the past. Now, they have their godson, and they would be damned if they didn't make up for lost time. Tsunade was willing to adopt Naruto, to take him in, as she intended to the night he was both born and orphaned, but she would have to run it by Hayato first. He established legal guardianship over Naruto a month ago. While the proctors cleaned up the arena, as best they could, Naruto was visited by his future wives in the box in the way of nearly getting mugged. Shino raised an eyebrow, Shikamaru's jaw was on the ground in shock. Kankuro huffed in jealousy, and Temari was feeling a little jealous, too. Gara was just Gara. Hey Naruto, you know these girls? Shikamaru asked his former classmate, gesturing to Renka and Raichi. He already knew Hinata. Yeah, he replied, making introductions to his two buddies in the box. The three girls were asked to leave by a few of the proctors, and did so reluctantly. They refused to leave without giving and receiving some affection, in the form of kissing him on the cheek for luck in his next match. Man, I hope you know what you got yourself into, Naruto. One woman is troublesome enough, Shika whispered to Naruto, who shook his head. They encouraged me, cheered me on, and even loved me. To someone like me, who's been alone for almost all of my life, they mean the world to me. They'll never be troublesome to me, he replied with a smile, Shika matching it. Well, if anyone could even remotely pull this off, I'd bet on you. The lazy Nara answered with a lazy grin. Down in the arena, the proctors had finally finished making the field usable, as Genma called for the next match. Second match, Uchiha Sasuke vs. Gara. Gara appeared in a swirl of sand down in the arena, awaiting his opponent. Muttering rippled through the crowd, wondering where their precious Uchiha was. Up in the Kage's box, Sarutobi and his two loyal students were wondering just that, as well. Where the hell is that idiot Hatake? He should have been here at the opening of the tournament, Tsunade growled. I don't know, but his and the Uchiha's reps won't save them here, right, sensei? Jiraiya said. Sarutobi gave them a grim nod. I know the council will throw a fit over this. I will not tolerate this tardiness on such an important day. Sasuke Uchiha is disqualified. The old Hokage agreed with his two students. The Kazekage looked as if he had been struck physically. Let's not be too hasty now, Hokage Dano. Many of the people here, dignitaries included, have come simply to see my son and the Uchiha fight. No, rules are rules. If you arrive late to a battlefield, you may have just gotten your comrades killed. If he is not responsible enough to show up at an appointed time, he does not deserve to be a Chunin, Sarutobi replied, his tone as cold and firm as it was in his prime. Not wanting to push his luck any further, Orochimaru backed off of the subject. Damn that old man, now of all time, he decided to grow a spine. He fumed as he sat there, awaiting another opportunity to enact his plan. Sarutobi relayed his instructions to one of his jounin, who leapt down to Genma, who shook his head. Ladies and gentlemen, since Uchiha Sasuke has failed to show up for his match, he has been disqualified. Winner is Gara by default. As Sarutobi and the proctors expected, this decision was met with a massive outcry from a mass majority of the populace who wanted to see their precious Uchiha in action. The older shinobi in the crowd, along with many of the dignitaries, understood why Sarutobi made the decision he did, and supported it. A shinobi who could not show up on time is unreliable, and is a liability, therefore is unworthy of becoming a Chunin. Gara, with a scowl of disappointment, teleported himself back up to the waiting area. What? They can't do that. Sasuke-kun needs to get his promotion. Come on, I know pig. Let's go tell Hokage-sama off for doing this to poor Sasuke-kun, Sakura ranted, trying to drag Ino with her. Let me go. He got disqualified because he couldn't even bother to show up on time like everyone else did. Do this by yourself? Ino yelled at her. Her friendship with the pink-haired girl at this point was now looking to be permanently severed. I can't believe you're abandoning Sasuke-kun, you traitor. He doesn't need hussies like you or those skanks that Naruto Baka hangs around with to help him build his clan. The Shibanshi raged, as she stomped up to the Kage's box. A few minutes saw Sakura up in the Kage's box, where she just stormed past the guards, and stomped up on the elderly shinobi leader. Why did you disqualify Sasuke-kun? He needs that promotion more than these other losers, especially that blonde dope, Naruto, she screeched. After everyone in the booth let their hearing come back, they all glared death at the girl. Even Orochimaru was getting really annoyed with her. What an unpleasant little girl. Tsunade wasn't anywhere near this bad, the snake pedophile thought with a scowl. What do you want, you little shit? Tsunade yelled at her. Shut up, you big upai cow. I want Hokage-sama to let Sasuke-kun fight and get promoted, and I won't leave until he does, Pinkzilla demanded, her rail-thin arms crossed defiantly. Tsunade did a slow burn, as her temper was quickly reaching a meltdown of Chernobyl-like proportions. Noticing this, Jiraiya grabbed her and restrained her. Tsunade, calm down, Jiraiya yelled at her. Damn you, Jiraiya, let me kill this little shit. Nobody talks about my godson or especially me like that, especially not some scrawny little Uchiha slut of a fangirl, she roared. The names of the two clicked inside of her Uchiha-riddled brain. G. Jiraiya? T. Tsunade? She whimpered. She had just insulted two of the legendary Sannin, the slug princess Tsunade, and the toad sage, Jiraiya. On top of that, one of the contestants she had just insulted was their godson. She was officially up to neck deep in shit creek with no canoe in sight. Tu Ianbu appeared by the Hokage. Hokage-sama, do you wish for us to remove this intruder? The cat-masked female captain asked, turning what everyone could tell was a disgusted gaze at the sniveling fangirl. Yes. Detain her until the end of the Chunin exams in an ANBU cell. We will have a nice long chat about this with her parents present, he ordered, as she was apprehended and taken to the ANBU jails until further notice. Now that she has been taken care of, we will continue, Sarutobi ordered. Ginma, seeing that the disturbance was over, announced the next match. Next match, Aburaim Shino vs Kankuro. Proctor, I forfeit the match, the black-suited puppet user called out. Shino's usually stoic face now showed a scowl. He had wanted to fight and try to get his promotion, but now his chances were not looking too good. Next match, Temari vs Nara Shikamaru. Ginma yelled, just wanting to get this over with. Temari, her patience finally breached, whipped out her fan, and floated down to the floor on an air current, folding her fan with a dramatic flourish of movement. Kankuro palmed his face. She just can't resist the urge to show off, he muttered. Shikamaru just groaned. Ah man, I gotta fight another girl? I'll just forfeit like that Kankuro guy. He whined until Naruto reminded him of something. If you forfeit now, your mom's gonna kill you later, you know that right? He told Shika, who went white as a sheet. Yeah, I see your point. The lazy genin stammered, having locked eyes with said woman, who gave him a glare that foretold hellish suffering should he cop out. He quickly hopped down to the arena floor without wasting any more time. Come on, let's fight, Temari yelled out impatiently. Now, since everyone knows how the fight goes, we'll press on to the entree of the Naruto vs Gara. But first, Naruto's friends, loved ones, and family were all pensive about this match, as it would truly test the fruits of his training to its limits. Jiraiya had taught him multiple suiton with which to combat Gara-san, just in case he fought with him. Even so, Naruto's ninjutsu arsenal needed updating, considering all he had before was 2 academy basics, the Kage Bunshin, and the tree climbing exercise. Now he had several suiton, a few basic futon, a doton, the Rasengan, and the Kuchios, Gamma. Ginma was glad that the first round was over, and they were now in the semifinals. We will now begin the semifinals. First match, Gara vs Uzumaki Naruto. The crowd was sitting on the edge of their seats about this match. For those who knew about Naruto's little tenant, this would be demon against demon. For the others, this was promising to be the fight of the century. Naruto, the underdog who soundly defeated the Hyuga prodigy, against the best Suna has to offer. Shino and Shikamaru both gave Naruto a nod, with Shikamaru warning him to be careful, as Naruto vaulted down to the floor near the proctor. Gara teleported himself down there, eager to fight his fellow. Naruto knew what he was getting into with Gara, and trusted that his godfather and great-uncle had prepared him for this, helping him craft the tools needed to survive. He sighed at the thought of not getting to prove himself against Sasuke, and prove Kakashi wrong about him, but he wanted to get a measure of payback for what happened to Lee, and possibly rescue a fellow demon container from himself. Beating some sense into someone usually works where words fail, right? Just before Ginma could start the match, a plume of smoke erupted in between the two contestants. A swirl of wind and leaves blew away the smoke to reveal Sasuke and Kakashi, standing back to back in a dramatic pose. Everyone glared at them, but Kakashi spoke first. Hey everybody, we're not late, are we? He asked, pulling out his infamous Aika book. Yes, you are, Kakashi. Get out of the arena, Ginma ordered harshly. What about Sasuke? Won't he get to fight? Kakashi asked, pressing for leniency. Uchiha Sasuke has been disqualified, Kakashi. Now leave the arena now, Ginma repeated himself. Sasuke was livid. His chance to show off was now ruined, and given to someone else. What? Give me the dope spot, and let me fight, Sasuke demanded. Both Gara and Naruto were not amused by the braggart. Go away, Uchiha, you do not interest me, Gara told him in his dead, monotone voice. He's right, team, you're in the way, Naruto added, agreeing with his opponent. Sasuke's rage built to its peak as he leapt at Naruto, his Sharingan spinning in his crazed anger. Naruto waited until he was right on top of him, then he sidestepped the blow, spinning to the side, and delivering a harsh knife hand chop to the base of his skull. Like Akasame-sensei and Ero-sensei taught him, the blow left Sasuke dazed and confused, wobbling around like a helpless baby animal. Too scared to fight me like a man, dope? Sasuke sneered drunkenly, still reeling from the hit. Naruto snapped, Genma-san, I'll fight the team, if only to prove that I deserve to be here, Naruto muttered, turning to Gara, knowing what he wanted most. Gara, are you okay with this? This way, you'll face a truly strong opponent, he reasoned. Gara seemed to accept this. Hurry, mother's hunger grows, he said in his dead fashion, but with intoned urgency. Sasuke chortled arrogantly. This will be easy. Naruto's features hardened this. Really? Do you think it'll be that easy? Naruto asked, amused. Naruto's eased posture sent Sasuke into a tizzy. Why are you so calm, loser? The self-proclaimed Avenger yelled in anger. I just feel really good right now, Naruto replied, grinning like a fox. Sasuke always hated that smile of his, as he barreled down on the smiling genin, his Sharingan blazing. Naruto had been training for this. He flooded the arena with as much chakra as he could muster, effectively hiding him from the eye of thieves. To Sasuke, it was like staring at the sun. The kind of chakra output Naruto was packing seemed inhuman, too much for his vaunted eyes to endure, so he had to shut them down. Fine then. It's not like I'll need my Sharingan to beat down a loser like you, he snarled, as he deactivated his eyes, sliding into the Uchiha fighting form. Naruto simply looked at his with carefully maintained calm, looking for any telltale signs of movement, something Sakaki-sensei taught him to read. Listen up, every opponent has some kind of tic or habit that can give away their movements. Look for it, the mountainous karate master's words echoed in his head. Sure enough, he picked up the tensing of Sasuke's leg muscles and prepared for the inevitable frontal assault. Sasuke raced forward and tried to drop Naruto in one blow, using a spinning roundhouse kick to the face, but thanks to his grappling training from Akasame-sensei, he grabbed Sasuke's attack at the ankle and used Sasuke's momentum against him, sending him flying away in embarrassment. Sasuke punched the ground from where he knelt down. Damn that dope. First, he does something to my Sharingan. Now he's making me look like a fool. I'll kill him. Black markings were beginning to appear on his skin, as his face contorted into a vicious snarl, rage, and embarrassment plain as day in his eyes. He threw himself at Naruto again, attempting to strike at another perceived weakness, taijutsu. Naruto slipped into Apachai's Muay Thai, dodging the first blow from Sasuke, and countering with a flying knee, which was followed up by a series of jabs, forearms, and elbows to keep Sasuke from getting breathing room. Finally, Naruto caught him with a forearm shot to the jaw, disorienting and stunning him, then a gut shot, and a powerful front kick to his ribs that left the supposed prodigy sprawled out. Had enough yet, team? Naruto asked. Naruto wanted to put Sasuke down with minimal fuss, as he still had to face Gara. Sasuke slowly scraped himself up, nursing his injured ribs, as he stood. He was livid, furious, that his dead last teammate was the one who was dominating this fight, and he was holding back. Naruto pointed out an ugly truth about the Uchiha, that nearly all except for very few, were mediocre at the very best without their Sharingan to aid them. It was a crutch which had made them arrogant, and now that Naruto had found a countermeasure, he was returning the favor from all of the times the Uchiha ever beat, embarrassed, and abused him. This shame didn't sit well at all, as he leapt back to get some room. I'll kill you, he screamed madly, as he formed the killing move he was given by Kakashi. Chidori! Naruto was alarmed that Sasuke would pull out something that looked so lethal during an exam, but was staying calm. All of his senses told him that losing his cool could cost him his life in situations like these. Off to the side, Kakashi's face held a triumphant smirk, wanting his star student to put this blonde upstart back where they felt he belonged, at their feet. Genma was frowning at the usage of a known killing against a fellow Konoha shinobi in an advancement exam. Sarutobi's two students, and Naruto's godparents were fuming mad. They knew who taught him that, and he was going to be dealt with after the exams. The Ryuzampaka masters were calm. They had come at Naruto at far greater speeds than this boy could even dream of achieving, so they had faith that Naruto could counter. No technique at all shows, Sakaki harumphed. I agree. Should a so-called assassination make such a racket? Akasame added. Ino's first reaction was going to be to cheer Sasuke on, and boo Naruto, but lately, Sasuke just lost his appeal. And now with her blinders off, she saw just how bad Sasuke really was. She also talked with the girls who had been around Naruto, as of late, and discovered that he's really a good guy. That annoying exterior was shed once people paid attention to him, since he didn't need it anymore. Naruto, after the exams are over, I'm going to apologize to you for being such a bitch to you for all these years. She made up her mind on her course of action. Sasuke raced in, his lightning-soaked fist leading the way, and aimed directly at his heart, aiming to kill. Naruto knew that Sasuke wasn't around when he fought Niji, so the same tactic to counter Niji's Kaiten. So, Naruto readied himself, and charged up a Rasengan, and waited until Sasuke got within range. He was careful to adjust the Rasengan's power, because he didn't want the villagers accusing him of trying to kill their precious team. Finally, Sasuke was in range, and Naruto let his attack fly. Mubiushi Rasengan. The Rasengan and the Chidori clashed in a brilliant light, but only for a second. The Rasengan, with the added force of the Mubiushi, completely destroyed the Chidori before it disappeared. Sasuke's now normal arm sailed over Naruto's, allowing the full force of the blonde's powerful taijutsu move to impact Sasuke's stomach. End result? Sasuke nearly got his stomach forcefully shoved out of his asshole, and thrown back into the stadium wall, cracks from his impact leaving spiderweb-like patterns on it. Shikamaru's eyes went wide. Whoa, Sasuke just got his ass handed to him, he commented before getting back to his usual self. Whatever, that punk-ass Uchiha had it coming, anyway, he added. I quite agree. Uchiha-san's arrogance has been quite intolerable, Shino agreed. Kakashi was enraged at his prize being beaten so easily, leaping down to confront who he thought was still his genin. However, he was even more angry at what Naruto used to deflect Chidori. What? How does he know that? And who could have taught it to him? The copy-nin growled, as he leapt down into the arena. He knew that it was the Force Own original, but it was never taught to him, and that was what drove him to create the Raikiri, in an effort to compete with him. Naruto, who taught you that? Who? Kakashi demanded angrily, as he bore down on the blonde, but Genma intervened. The Uchiha was in the way, and so are you, Hatake. Now scrape him up, and leave before I have the ANBU make you, the toothpick-chewing Jounin ordered. This isn't over, Kakashi growled, as he picked up Sasuke, and left the arena. Now, before we were rudely interrupted, let's get this started, Genma told the two genin. Semi-finals first match Gara of Suna vs Uzumaki Naruto of Konoha. Fight. Naruto and Gara watched each other, having seen each other fight before. Gara had to admit that Naruto had gotten much better, and faster than he was before, and felt that he wasn't out of tricks yet. On the other hand, Naruto just had a gut feeling that Gara was just holding back what he could really do, hiding something other than the Shikaku. Remembering back to Lee's match against the bloodthirsty genin, he knew that his sand had to be avoided at all costs. Naruto weaved through hand seals, and fired off a Suiton to start things off. Suten, Teppadama. Naruto spat out a large ball of high-velocity water at his opponent. Like clockwork, Gara's sand rose to protect him from the projectile. But something was wrong afterwards. His sand was sluggish and returning to him. Gara looked down at his sand, and saw that it was soggy and muddy. Glaring at the blonde, who was weaving through more hand seals, he sent out multiple tendrils of sand to impale his enemy. Naruto ducked, and weaved his way through the spikes of sand, and fired off another. Suten, Mizurappa. A torrent of water lightly flooded the arena floor to about ankle deep due to how much chakra Naruto poured into the. After recovering from the usage, the blonde leapt on top of the water, running right at his opponent at top speed. Gara tried to erect a sand shield, but it wouldn't obey his commands. Just as a look of shock took over his features, Naruto was already on top of him, laying into him with everything he had. Slowly, Gara's Suna no Yora cracked, giving out under the intense punishment Naruto was dishing out. With a final spinning roundhouse kick to the face, Gara was sent sprawling to the ground. Slowly, Gara stood back up, and uncorked his gourd on his back, tapping into his emergency supply of sand, and using it to encase himself in a cocoon of some sort to protect himself. So, he's gonna try to hide? Maybe the Rasengan I'll break through the barrier, Naruto reasoned, as he made a Kage Bunshin to help him concentrate. After it was finished, Naruto pelted at the barrier at full tilt, but as soon as he was within a certain range, more sand spears shot out of the sphere, nearly impaling him, and disrupting his. Man, I never thought I'd be thankful for Shigeru-sensei's dodging practice, Naruto thought, as he backed off to regroup. After creating several Kage Bunshin to be on standby to launch more Suiton when the sand attacks him while closing in, he finally made it past Gara's defenses, and manages to plunge his Rasengan into the sand shell, and a subsequent explosion that ripped into Gara's shoulder, drawing blood. Gara screamed in pain, as he held his shoulder, pulling his hand away to inspect the warm, sticky fluid that was not flowing from his person. Blood, you made me bleed my own blood. I'll kill you, Gara screamed, as he began to transform into some kind of grotesque monster, half human, half tanuki. Up in the Kage's box, Orochimaru smirked. This was the signal to begin the invasion, as white feathers fell upon the stadium, and its occupants causing all those caught unaware to be caught sleeping. Suna and Odo shinobi began to lay siege to the village, overrunning the gates, and flooding into the village. More shinobi invaded the stadium, and began to clash with the defenders. Orochimaru threw off his disguise, and revealed himself to the world, and his old teacher, holding him with a kunai at his throat. Orochimaru, you've fallen even further, I see, Sarutobi sighed. Kakuku, I see that you've gotten soft and senile, old man. You couldn't even see through my disguise, either Kadobe Jiraiya or our dear princess. Orochimaru sneered, also making jabs at his former teammates. To his surprise, either one of his ex-teammates made a move against him to save their sensei, his suspicions rising. Suddenly, Sarutobi vanished in a plume of smoke along with his teammates, leaving behind logs with exploding tags on them. Shit, they knew, he thought. As the tags exploded, he and his personal elite guard managed to get away from the explosions and found the three on the roof. Sarutobi in his black battle gear and armor, ready to fight. Orochimaru responded by spitting up his Kusanagi sword, getting into a basic Kenjutsu stance. You've grown even more arrogant, Orochimaru, that will be your downfall. The old Hokage addressed his former student, and one of his biggest regrets. He then bit his finger for some blood, and went through a series of seals, slamming his hands down. Kuchios no Justu, and Kuyeneme. In a plume of smoke, a large monkey summon appeared next to Sarutobi. Hiruzen, I told you that we should have killed him when we had the chance. Enma growled, glowering at the snake's Sannin. I know, old friend. Now, we will rectify that mistake, Sarutobi replied in a steeled voice, showing the man he was in his prime. Henge, Kongoni. Enma had been transformed into the adamantine staff, an homage to the legendary Monkey King, Son Goku, from times beyond ancient. A barrier of purple fire erupted around the edges of the roof they were on, killing 3 Anbu who tried to jump in. Orochimaru gave his former team a sinister grin, as he weaved through hand seals. Now Sensei, Jiraiya Dobe, Tsunade-chan, there is no escape. Who's being arrogant now? Orochimaru sneered at them, a trio of coffins rising from the roof behind him. As Gara thrashed in pain, Baki, his team's Jounin Sensei along with his siblings, all piled in front of the demented genin. Damn, he's losing control, Bako cursed, turning to the other two. Temari, Kankuro, get him out of here, he ordered, the 2 genin obeying their orders. Grabbing Gara, they leapt over the village walls, bounding off into the forest to make their escape. Naruto was about to go after them, but Baki moved to stop him. Just before he could strike, Genma blocked the attack, giving Naruto some cover. Give him hell, kid, Genma told him, as Naruto took off. Shikamaru and Shino both shook off, and saw what was happening. Naruto had already been through 2 tough fights, and now he was throwing himself into a larger one. The 2 of them decided that they couldn't let him do this alone, so they went after him to cover his back. Up in the stands, Sasuke had recovered, and was seething with anger and jealousy, his calling cards. He then tore off after Naruto to settle the score for his humiliation. Dispelling the genjutsu, Kazara and Takeda were fighting back to back with their signature fighting styles. The lithe and limber Kazara was using her powerful legs in conjunction with a powerful but obscure taijutsu style called Taekwondo, which focused on the lower body and on one's core, along with incredible flexibility and acrobatic skill. She roared as she unleashed a powerful, sweeping roundhouse that killed an Oto Nin instantly. Near her was her partner since her genin days, Takeda, utilizing a fighting style that was even more obscure in the ninja world, which came from over the seas from the far west, called boxing. This style relied on a powerful core and upper body to deliver truly devastating punches that hit like a freight train packed full of anvils. He yelled as he snapped out with a hellishly powerful haymaker that knocked a Suna Nin into the next zip code. Hey Chibi-chan, you holding up alright? He asked his longtime friend. Yeah, I'm alright. And don't call me Chibi-chan, she ranted, as she vented her frustration on a few hapless enemy Nin. Stay safe, Kazara, he whispered. He made a promise to his dead teammate and friend since he was in diapers, Kuzo Yukita, to protect her at the cost of his own life. This was a promise that meant everything to him. Kabuto, Orochimaru's assistant who was dressed as an Anbu, smirked as he took hold and did his job. However, as his eyes fell upon a certain group of spectators, they didn't affect them at all, and they were all glaring at him. A group of Oto shinobi he had sent attempted to attack them, but let's bear in mind that the key word here is attempt. The combined ki from all of the masters, Hayato, Mio, Hayashi, and Tenmon caused them all to pass out in shock and fear, a couple of whom had a heart attack. They all took stock of the situation. It was open warfare with innocent civilians caught in the crossfire here, and many more in the village. They knew what had to be done. I guess I'll handle things here, Sakaki said while he stretched his back with a loud pop. I'll help out here too, Sakaki-kun, Kensei spoke up. I'll help you, Papa, Renka piped up, the other 2 girls nodding in agreement. Hayato shook his head. No, Renka-chan, Naruto-chan will need help. Follow him to help fight the Suna Genin. The rest of you girls should follow along. I have faith in you all, the Ryazanpaku elder told them seriously. As they took off, Mio blocked a blow from another Oto shinobi and kicked him away. Ji-san, I'll follow them and help Otoro-kun, Mio told her grandfather. No, I'll go and help him. Stay here and help protect the civilians. Shigeru spoke up, a determined look on her face. Mio was about to protest, but her grandfather stalled her. Mio-chan, we will need you to help protect the defenseless civilians, he told her gently, as he turned towards where Sarutobi was. Where are you going, elder? Akasame asked. To help an old friend, was all he said, as he vanished in a burst of pure speed. The remaining masters split up to different parts of the village. Sakaki and Kensei at the stadium, Apachai and Akasame into the village to help repel enemy forces, Shigeru to help Naruto and keep him covered, and finally Hayato went to help out Sarutobi. Tenmon and Hayashi both nodded to each other and left to defend their respective families, mowing down any and all Oto and Suna shinobi they encountered along the way. The battle was reaching a fever pitch, as Apachai and Akasame arrived in the village proper, and lent their support. At first they were laughed at, and told to go wait in a shelter, but after Apachai booted one Tsunejounin over the horizon, and Akasame turned another into a pretzel with only a single movement, they accepted aid. The normally gentle giant became a raging berserker when he saw that children were getting hurt, decimating all enemy shinobi in his area, and getting the children to the hospital, where he stood guard, and wiped out any enemy that approached. Akasame lent his medical skills to the hospital staff by treating the wounded that came in along with providing extra security. Back at the stadium, Kensei and Sakaki made a small competition to see how many enemy shinobi they could take out. Nearby, Kakashi and Guy were watching on, stunned at what these two non-shinobi could pull off, and they were making it seem so easy, too. Kakashi turned to his side, and noticed that Sasuke was gone, and had taken off after Naruto. Damn, he muttered, summoning one of his hounds. What is it, Kakashi? Pakin, his main tracking hound, asked in a bored tone. I need you to lead me to Sasuke, he ordered the small pug. Pakin sighed. Again, Kakashi was more worried about the Uchiha than his other students. He sniffed the air fine. He's off this way. A few other scents are off this way, as well. One of them has a demonic scent, Pakin warned. Kakashi's eyes went wide at the news. Let's go. Now, he ordered, as they took off at full tilt in the direction the genin left in. Back on the roof, Orochimaru wasn't out of tricks yet, running through hand seals at a blinding pace. Once finished, he slammed his hands down on the roof tiles. Doing this caused a trio of coffins to rise from the roof. With a sickening smirk, he finished his Kuchios, Edo Tensei. The lids of the coffins slid open to reveal three of the village's greatest heroes. The Sho Ni and Yondaime Hokage stepped from the coffins, their faces devoid of emotion. Orochimaru, true to his nature, wanted to savor the looks on the faces of his enemies before acting. Both Sannin and Sarutobi gasped in horror at who Orochimaru had dragged from their rightfully earned eternal rest. How dare you disturb the dead, Orochimaru? Have you no shame? No load to which you will not sink? Sarutobi growled. You have grown so old, Hashirama called out to his former student. Hey, he always called me old. How the tables have turned, Tobirama teased. The two brothers noticed Tsunade. Tsuchan, you've certainly grown up into a beautiful woman. Mito would be so proud, Hashirama said, smiling sadly. I'll say, where was Mito-chan hiding those? Tobirama commented on Tsunade's more than generous bust, only to be conked on the head by his elder brother. Tobi, that's my granddaughter, and your great niece, Hashirama admonished me. Fine, spoiled sport. Tobirama sulked, crossing his arms. Manado opened his eyes, and peered around him, his eyes locking onto his old sensei. Ero-sensei, he called out to the Toad Sage in an almost sing-song voice while waving. Little brat, even in death, he still calls me that. Jiraiya pouted indignantly, folding his arms across his chest. Orochimaru was growing tired of this little reunion, and was about to plant his control seals on the three living corpses when a massive shock made the building they were standing on tremble, as if a great earthquake had struck. Just beyond the barrier, Hayato Furinji had landed, and was getting briefed on the situation by the ANBU captain. On seeing Orochimaru saw the man, and nearly wet himself. No, not him, he is a monster in human form, Orochimaru mentally screamed in terror. He remembered the one time that the invincible Superman dropped in on his team's training when he was a genin, and offered to train them for a day while Sarutobi tended to his wife, who was giving birth to their first child. The insane man's training methods made the normally unflappable pale prodigy scream for mercy, an embarrassment that he never lived down. Jiraiya noticed his discomfort, and smirked. Hey, Oroki-chan, I thought that snakes were supposed to hiss, not squeal like little piglets, he snickered. Orochimaru's temper flared, as he attempted to retort when the entire roof shook again. Hayato slammed his fist down into the corner of the roof, where one of Orochimaru's lieutenants was trying to uphold his end to the barrier. Jirubo's concentration was broken when he fell to his death, crushed by the debris of the falling building. The barrier flickered, and died out, allowing Hayato access inside. The massive old man noticed his nephew, and smiled sadly. Uncle, Manado called out, running up to his relative. How is Naruto? Is he well? Manado asked his sensei. And uncle, Minato, now isn't the time. We have to take care of a little problem first, Jiraiya explained. He and Tsunade told the three ex-Kages of Orochimaru's treachery, and it made them very angry. They now turned on their summoner. You should obey me. I summoned you, the snake Sannin snarled. Damn, I would have had a hard enough time fighting off the old joke, and his two loyal dogs, but now that insane lunatic, and three Kages? I cannot hope to win, Orochimaru reasoned, as he signaled to his remaining guard, who beat a hasty retreat. As the ANBU squads made to take off in pursuit, Sarutobi halted them, redirecting their efforts into repelling the remaining invaders. The figures of the three Kages didn't last much longer now that Orochimaru wasn't there to hold them. Manado was told of his son's life, and he was rightly angered by it, especially with Kakashi for all but abandoning his son. But he was extremely proud of the way his son pulled through. However, he didn't want to cause his son more pain than he already has. Don't tell him about this, Manado pleaded. It would hurt Naruto more to know that he was brought back only to die again. They all agreed to do so for the boy's sake. Manado pulled Jiraiya in close. Sensei, inside the forbidden scroll, there is the scroll for the Hiraishin, and one of my kunai for it with the seal inscribed into it. I want you to teach it to him when the time is right. I trust you, Sensei. Uncle Hayato, please take care of my son, Manado asked them, as he and the other two ex-Kages faded away. In the forest near the borders of the village, the Sand siblings were beating a hasty retreat until they felt Naruto catching up to them, and Kankuro stopped suddenly. He stopped to stall their pursuers long enough for her to escape with Gara. Just after she took off again, Naruto caught up with the puppet user, and a fight ensued. Only a moment later, Renka, Raichi, and Hinata arrived, and took over, with Hinata staying behind to fight him. What's a timid little thing like you gonna do to stop me? Kankuro taunted. He remembered her from the prelims, as a scared and meek little girl. However, the fierce glare on her face was neither meek nor timid. She was going to introduce him to a world of hurt, and enjoy every minute of it. Striking out before he lost his nerve, Kankuro lashed out with Karasu, his puppet with poison blades. He wasn't totally stupid. He saw the kinds of damage a Hyuga could inflict if let close enough, so he would just keep her at bay until she either wore out or the poison took her down. Unfortunately, Hinata had an idea. Since the Jukin required the hands to be encased in a thin shroud of chakra anyway, she could cut the chakra strings Kankuro was using to manipulate his puppet, and render him defenseless. She remembered how a man from Suna, a puppeteer, was moving little puppets in a small show when she was a small child, and knew that this was how Kankuro was doing it, too. Acting quickly, she dodged, and let Karasu sail over her, and in one clean swipe, she severed the string controlling Karasu, and the puppet fell silent. Not wasting any words, she leapt in, as fast as her still recovering body would allow, and disabled Kankuro, tying him up, and leaving him in a safe place for retrieval later. As she took off to rejoin the boy she loved, with Temari, she felt Gara's demon beginning to awaken, so she separated herself from him. It was then that Naruto caught up with her, but this time, before she could fight, Renka intervened. She told Naruto and Raichi to keep going, and take down Gara before something bad happened. Temari gauged the girl before her carefully. Temari knew that she herself was pretty good, but was also smart enough to not underestimate an opponent. She had never seen this girl fight, and to dismiss her would be a mistake, she was sure of it. Unfurling her fan, she shot out a blast of wind, but she had to be careful. She expended a good portion of her reserves during her match, and she would soon run out. All she could do was buy some time at this point. Renka dodged from branch to branch with cat-like grace, easily avoiding the wind blast as she got closer and closer to her target. Finally within striking range, Temari tried to swing at the dark-haired girl with her fan, hoping for a lucky hit, but she couldn't have missed by a bigger margin. Renka was already behind her, and placed both palms to her back. Time to say goodnight, Renka whispered. Tanpa? The twin-palm blow launched the pony-tailed Suna Kunoichi at least a dozen yards through the air until she hit the forest floor. As Renka scooped her up and placed her in a place where she could be retrieved later, she realized that she didn't have any gear or supplies on her. She decided that after a blow like that, she wasn't going anywhere for a while. Her job taken care of, she sped off in the direction of Naruto, and Raichi chased that demented red-headed boy. Behind them, Sasuke had found Hinata and Renka fighting their opponents, but offered no aid to them. He simply waited for them to lead him to where Naruto and Gara were, intent on proving who is the strongest, and see what he could copy from either one of them before one of them died, like a vulture circling overhead. Shigure, being much faster and stronger than the genin, had caught up rather quickly, but was waylaid by a squad of Oto and Sunanin that were combing the forest for easy kills. The first Oto-nin spoke out, leering at her choice of clothing. Hey guys, why don't we forget this stupid fighting, and have ourselves a little victory party right here? He leered at Shigure, her rather eye-catching ensemble consisting of black thigh-highs and a very short kimono. However, they failed to see that she was armed, or even who she was. Get out of my way, she warned them, drawing her blade. The shinobi all laughed, as they continued what they were doing, all but ensuring their visit by the Angel of Death. The first shinobi that spoke out got his hand lopped off in an eye blink, as he grabbed at her. He screamed, as he clutched the cleanly sliced stump of what used to be his left hand. You bitch! One of the Suna shinobi cried, as they all leapt in to take her down. The fight began, and ended in less than a couple of seconds. In the span of an eye blink, 3 of their number were cut down by the blade that was forged especially for her by her adoptive father, the Akabanatu, or Red Feather, for how it could slice the very air. The rest came in quick succession until they all lay dead at her feet. She had no time to reflect though. I have to find Naruto-kun, she thought, as she slept off to find him, and the girls again. Back with Naruto and Raichi, they had finally caught up to Gara, whose transformation was nearly completed. He now looked like a miniature Shikaku, grotesquely deformed, and grinning like a psychopath. Blood, I want blood, the tanuki screeched, as it launched a small barrage of sand projectiles at them. Naruto saw the sand bullets first, and took the first shot meant for Raichi right in the chest. "Oh Kami Naruto!" she screamed, as she pulled him behind a tree to check the wound. To her surprise, there was only a hole where the bullet penetrated his top, but the chainmail vest Shiger gave him saved his life. "I'm fine, Raichi-chan," he assured her, as they continued to dodge the hailstorm of sand shrapnel, as it shredded the trees hiding them. Gara was getting tired of them hiding from him until he saw Renka and Hinata pelting at him. He then gave a sickening smirk, as he thought of a way to draw them out. While the two were in mid-leap, he launched a pair of sand claws at them, pinning them to the trees, and knocking the wind from them. "No!" Raichi yelled, as she tore off to help her 2 friends get free, leaving herself vulnerable in the process. "Foolish!" Shikaku Gara cackled, as he fired off another sand claw, this time pinning Raichi to a tree next to her fellow brides. Naruto looked on in horror. The 3 girls who had captured his heart and earned his affections were just a breath away from death. Slowly, that fear turned into rage, a burning rage that threatened to consume him. "Uzumaki, face me, show me that you are worth killing, or these wenches die before I kill you," the now demonic Gara roared, as his sand claws wrenched tighter around the girls, making them cry out in pain. Naruto snapped. Ever since the fight with Haku, he hadn't been so angry. He came out to face down the insane. "Let's do this. I'll make you pay for this," Naruto snarled, preparing himself to attack. What makes these 3 whores so valuable to you that you would risk yourself for them?" he taunted. "Because I love them, you sick bastard. They showed me what love really is, and I'll kill you to protect them if I have to," Naruto roared back, weaving through hand seals as fast as he could. "Suten, Suryuden!" A water dragon roared to life, and slammed into the sand demon with crushing force, throwing him back some 20 feet, and into a rather thick tree, where his sand caught him. Unfortunately, Gara was only spurred on even more. Yes, entertain me more, Uzumaki," he roared, and began to grow in size at an alarming rate. Soon he towers above the forest canopy. Now Gara truly had become the demon he contained. As the giant sand tanuki loomed above the forest, Naruto cursed. "Damn, I don't know if I have the chakra to do this, but I have to try," he yelled, as he bit his thumb for the blood he needed to summon, smearing it on his summoning hand, and flipping through the hand seals, ending with slamming his hand down. "Come on, boss, I need you," Naruto thought frantically. Kuchios no Jutsu. A towering explosion of smoke erupted from where Naruto once stood, now replaced by a massive toad that equaled Shikaku in size. "Oi brat, where the hell am I?" Gamabunta yelled, looking for either of his clan's summoners. "Yo boss, up here," Naruto yelled from on top of his head, explaining the situation to the chief of the toads. Hidden some distance away, Sasuke was boiling over with rage and jealousy at the feat Naruto had performed. He had heard of summons, and it was how the Sannin got their name. He also knew about the toad summons being the summon of the toad sage, Jiraiya. If Naruto was able to summon toads, then the dobe must have been trained by the toad Sannin himself. This new information was driving the raven-haired Avenger wannabe insane with jealousy. The girls were amazed. They had all heard stories about the summons of Konoha, but seeing one of them in real life before them was a real treat. The kicker that topped even that was that Gamabunta was summoned by none other than Naruto. "So you want me to help you save your girlfriends, right?" The massive toad teased the blushing boy. Yeah, now let's kick that bastard squirrel's ass," Naruto yelled. "Okay Gaki, hold on tight. These rides are going to get a little rough," Bunta called out, drawing his dagger while Naruto braced himself. Gara was growing impatient and decided to get the ball rolling. "Futon, Rankuden." Gara concentrated some wind in his demon form's belly and let it fly by punching itself in the gut. Bunta saw the blast bearing down on them, so he took to the air. As he did so, Gara fired off another round of blast. "Damn," Bunta grimaced, putting his webbed 4 feet into the ram's seal. "Suten, Teppadama." Bunta fired off water blasts to intercept the wind, but he was one short. "Boss, watch out," Naruto called out, as he flipped through seals of his own. "Suten, Suryuden." Now one couldn't possibly expect this to cancel out a massive wind blast fired from Bijou, but it did buy Bunta the time he needed to draw his blade and parry the massive bullet. "What?" Gara yelled in shock that somebody managed to survive his assault. As Bunta descended from his jump, He also sliced into the arm of the demon, but had trouble following through with his strike. His Tonto dagger was wedged into the sandy arm, and the demon wasn't letting go. After a short tugging match, Bunta managed to tug free, and take the arm with it. The demon just looked at the arm, and scoffed like it didn't even bother him. He just grew it right back. "That's it, I'll kill you," Gara screamed. "Tanuki Nairi no Jutsu. I'm free, time for you to die. The now fully released Shikaku cackled with murderous glee. Naruto was confused by this, but Bunta knew what it meant. "Oh," Bunta muttered. "What's up, boss?" Naruto asked. "That kid's like you, a demon vessel. From what I can tell, if the boy sleeps, the demon has full control, and full power. We need to wake him up again," Gamma Bunta told him, already thinking of ways to get his summoner in close enough to do the job. "Hey kid, do you know any fires?" he asked. No. Why? Damn, there goes the Gameyo Enden. He sighed, explaining the method of the Gameyo Enden to him. "So all you need is fire? I got an explosive tag for that," Naruto told him with a smirk. "Good thinking, kid, let's do this," Bunta roared, puffing up with the extremely flammable toad oil. Katon, Gameyo Enden! The massive stream of oil met the explosion caused by the tag, igniting the oil, and creating a hellish tongue of flames that Shikaku caught full blast. Bunta and Naruto were careful to aim it away from where the girls and the village were. After the flames died down, Shikaku was encased in a shell of superheated sand that had turned to glass, rendering him immobile. "Gaki, here's your chance," Bunta hollered, getting Naruto within striking distance. Naruto ran down Bunta's nose and leapt from there, landing on the slick surface of Shikaku's face before Gara's sleeping form. "Time to wake the hell up," the blonde roared, as he reared back. Mubioshi! The blow broke right through the glass shell that was protecting Gara, hitting him with impressive force, and waking him from his forced sleep. Gamma Bunta, who was completely out of chakra, only had time for one thought, as he went back to the Toad domain. "That kid has a lot of his father in him. He'll become even greater," the old Toad thought with a sad smile, as he left the battlefield. "No, you bastards! I wanted to play some more," the giant Tanuki whined, as it shattered like a massive pane of glass, dumping both demon vessels into the forest floor below. Temari, who had regained consciousness, had followed the fighting. Along the way, she found Kankuro, and set him free. They were in awe that someone had managed to match her brother blow for blow, and a genin at that. The two leapt down near the two exhausted fighters, waiting for their chance to jump in and get Gara to safety. Gara painted from where he lay, battered, and unable to move, while Naruto, not really in much better shape, stood over him. "Why are you so strong?" Gara asked. "Because those girls, my friends, my masters, and family mean everything to me. I'll give everything to protect them," Naruto told him solemnly. Gara looked into his opponent's eyes, seeing pain and loneliness in them, but even more so than that, understanding. "Do you have something like me?" Gara asked, to which Naruto nodded. "Yeah, I have the Kyuubi inside of me," Naruto confirmed. "I see I have much to think about." "Thank you, Naruto Uzumaki," Gara thanked him in a tired voice. It was then that Temari and Kankuro jumped out and hoisted Gara up, Naruto allowing them to. After a quick nod of thanks from the two siblings, they jumped off, bound for the Wind Country border. As Naruto watched them leave, he felt a blow hit him from behind, and his world went black. The sand around the girls had dissolved, and let them go when Shikaku's power was broken. They immediately rushed to Naruto's side, but they were beaten there by Sasuke, who was smirking nastily while standing over Naruto, lightning crackling in his hand, as he prepared to strike. The three girls were enraged at what the last Uchiha had the nerve to do, Raichi kicking him away into a tree, knocking him unconscious, while Hinata and Renka started to tend to Naruto's wounds. Unfortunately, the wrong person saw them fight off Sasuke, Kakashi. He rushed into the middle of the fight, and took Sasuke's side. "I hope you girls know that attacking a fellow leaf shinobi during a time of war is treason," he told them dangerously. "He attacked Naruto first. He was going to kill him," Hinata yelled angrily. "I saw nothing of the sort. Now come along before I use force," he ordered them. He didn't even make it 2 steps toward them, as another blur intercepted him. It was a woman with long dark hair and a ponytail, a dangerously short kimono, and thigh highs. Kakashi knew who she was instantly from his ANBU days. "Kusaka Shiger," he said, his eyes narrowed. "I saw what happened here. The Uchiha attacked Uzumaki while he was weakened from his fight with Tsuna's weapon," she told him in her usual fashion, a stony look on her face. She never liked Kakashi, as she found him to be rather arrogant due to his implanted Sharingan eye. He once challenged her for leadership of the ANBU team she led, but he was soundly beaten, and she did it without even breaking a sweat. He had been especially wary of her ever since. However, he had grown cocky again from being praised, as Sasuke-sensei. "I don't think I believe you. In fact, I think it was Sasuke that defeated Gara," Naruto just getting in the way. It really doesn't matter what happened. Once I tell the council my story, yours will just be a lie. He sneered, picking up his prized Uchiha, and leaping away. Shigure didn't like where this was heading. She turned to Naruto, and picked him up. You girls follow me, and stay close, she ordered. The woman was extremely formidable, and following her orders seemed to be the logical thing to do, so they followed without question. Back in the village, Sound and Sand were in full retreat, and leaving the village in droves, nearly toppling over each other to do it. Monsters! Beasts! They're beasts! Run! What are they? Demons? Apachai was indignant at being referred to as something evil. Apachai isn't evil, the massive Muay Thai master fumed, as his opponents ran off in abject horror. Well, Apachai-kun, it seems that they were all talking, Akasame commented idly, as he turned back to working on another injured shinobi. Kensei, Sakaki, and Neil were with the other sensei back at the stadium, watching as the Sand/Sound coalition broke down, and fled from the stadium. Sakaki just shook his head in disgust. They were hardly even worth fighting. What a bunch of lightweights. The Gaki put up twice the fight these wimps did in our spars, he commented with disappointment. I agree. These youths were quite lacking in terms of skill. They strike me to be cannon fodder, mere amateurs meant to divert our attention, Kensei added. I quite agree with you, Masifu. The shinobi that we fought were a little better than Genin in terms of skill and ability. I share your notion that they were merely a diversion, Guy agreed respectfully. Mio, however, was worried more about her newly found family member, and his fiancés, how they handled the Suna Genin. She did not want to say goodbye to them so soon, not if she had anything to do with it. She may not be a shinobi, but she was powerful, as an A-rank shinobi at her best. It would take a lot to stand in her way. On the roof of Kikyo Tower, Sarutobi, Hayato, and the two Sannin were getting their wits about them, and assessing what needed to be done, and to go look for Naruto. I need to go, and look for him, Jiraiya. I'm worried, Tsunade told her teammate. I understand, Haim. Just let me go with you. I'm his godfather, after all. Jiraiya agreed, as the two of them left off, leaving their sensei, and Hayato to talk seriously about what Manado had requested of them. Will you honor what Manado asked of us, Saru? Hayato asked his old friend. Yes, I will. Telling Naruto that his father came back to life only to die again moments later is just too cruel. I cannot bring myself to tell him. The old Hokage lamented before Hayato changed the subject. So what's your opinion on how the boy did? He fought 3 battles back to back, winning 2 of them, and Kami willingly, the third, Hayato requested. The boy has shown miraculous growth under the care of the masters, and yourself. You undid all of the damage Kakashi, and the rest had done to him, minus Iruka. Iruka tried everything humanly possible to help the boy, but there was only so much he could do. I have every confidence that he has earned a promotion. The council cannot refute what everyone in the village, and all of these important diplomats have seen, Sarutobi reasoned. Hayato nodded, and changed the subject. Now maybe we should go into the village, and make sure things are alright? I shall go, and look for my associates while you tend to things. With that, the 2 mighty geezers parted, one in a flurry of leaves, and the other in a burst of pure speed, near the Konoha border. Raichi, Renka, and Hinata were having a rough time trying to keep up the brutal pace that Shige was setting. The fact that amazed them even more was that she was carrying Naruto with her without even slowing the slightest bit. They did, however, know why they had to rush back to the village. They had to beat Kakashi back to the village and stop him from giving the Uchiha all of the credit for defeating Gara, as well as pinning them with false assault charges. Kami only knows what he'll get the council to do if they get there first. Before they knew it, they had fallen far behind the seasoned Kunoichi, whose pace could be likened to a ball out of hell. They thought that they would get attacked any moment now, but all of the enemy shinobi they had seen were all fleeing, as if the devil himself were nipping at their heels. They didn't bother wondering what was going on. As long as they weren't bothering them, this was a good thing in their opinion, they thought collectively. As they cranked up the speed, Jiraiya and Tsunade flickered into the forest just to run into Kakashi, who was carrying his Uchiha pain in the ass in his arms. Kakashi? What the hell are you doing here? You were supposed to be helping out at the stadium, Tsunade demanded of him. Her honey-colored eyes narrowed with suspicion. Naruto and the girls had taken off in that direction after Suna Genin and Gara. I just went to retrieve Sasuke. He fought and defeated the Suna Genin and Gara by himself. He lied to them enthusiastically. Kakashi was a pretty good liar, but not good enough to fool 2 of the 3 Sannin, especially Jiraiya, the greatest spy master Konoha had ever produced. He could spot a liar while in a drunken stupor without any difficulty. Oh really? Jiraiya questioned, his voice laden with skepticism and suspicion. He already knew Kakashi was lying. He just needed to figure out what happened. Tsunade caught on to what her longtime teammate was implying, and pressed on the one-eyed bastard. Is that so, Hataki? Then you wouldn't mind if I took your pulse while I asked you a few questions? Tsunade requested, the look on her face saying that refusal wouldn't be tolerated. Fortunately, Kakashi had no idea that she was in fact Naruto's godmother, and Kami willingly, his legal guardian and mother. Kakashi was arrogant enough to believe that he would fool Tsunade, and agreed, thinking that they would back up his claims should they buy it. So what were you and the Uchiha brat doing here, Hatake? Where are Naruto Uzumaki and the 3 genin we sent in to stop the Suna genin? She asked. Oh, they fled back to the village, and Sasuke here valiantly defeated Gara and his teammates. When he was getting ready to head back to the village, though, Naruto and his 3 accomplices attacked Sasuke, but I barely managed to rescue him from their jealous attack, Kakashi told them, grinning smugly under his mask. He thought that his training as an ANB would be able to fool Tsunade. Wrong. Their suspicions were confirmed, as Kakashi's pulse was dancing around like a soul-trained dancer that's been hit with a 100,000-volt taser. Tsunade and Jiraiya smirked at each other before rounding on the guilty Jounin. Oh, Kakashi, what would Manado say if he saw you now? Or better yet, Obito or Rin? Jiraiya shook his head. Kakashi was now starting to sweat. What do you mean, Jiraiya-sama? Don't insult my intelligence. Boy, I'm not known for my medical expertise for nothing. You are lying to us. Tsunade snarled, as she jerked Kakashi up by his vest, and to her face. Now you will tell us the truth, and should you lie to us again, the consequences will not be pleasant. The beautiful Sannin threatened. After both Sannin pressed him for answers, he finally cracked, and spilled everything, the whole truth of what he was up to, and how he tried to cover up Sasuke's misconduct. He was lucky that he needed to be brought in alive, or the pair would have killed him on the spot for attempted treason and sabotage. The 2 Sannin surrounded him immediately, taking him into custody. Hatake, Kakashi, you will be coming with us. If you try to run away, you will be killed on sight, Jiraiya told him with authority. On whose authority? Was Kakashi's smart-ass reply. You fool? Do you even realize just who you're talking to? We are called the Sannin for a reason. We operate with the blessings of the Hokage, acting on his behalf. Just be glad he isn't here himself, brat. Tsunade snapped at him, effectively shutting his mouth, before she turned to her old teammate. Jiraiya, I'm going to look for Naruto and the girls. Take this trash back to Sensei, she informed him, as she took off deeper into the forest. Jiraiya just sighed, as he made a Kage Bunshin to help him escort Kakashi back to the village. Let's go, Hatake, and if you try to escape I'll cut you down, see if I don't. The Toad Sage glowered at him, as they got going. In another part of the forest, the girls were trying to catch their breath, as Hinata picked up a massive chakra signature heading right for them. It spooked her into activating her Byakugan to scan the target. Before she could tell the others, the signature revealed itself to be none other than Tsunade, who landed right in front of them. Where's Naruto? She asked them. Shiger-san took off with him to beat Hatake back to the village. She felt that if he beat her there, he would say that the Uchiha beat Gara, and that Naruto-kun was a traitor. Right, she explained. To their surprise, Tsunade smirked. Don't worry your pretty little heads about that. The old pervert, and I intercepted him near the village, and grilled him. He fessed up with a little persuasion, and now Jiraiya is escorting him back to a holding cell, pending charges of misconduct. The Uchiha will face similar charges for his blatant attack on Naruto after he defeated the Suna Jinchuriki. The Slug Queen answered them. What about Naruto-kun? Did he and Shiger-san make it? Hinata asked. Yes, they made it to Hokage Tower safely. Now follow me. I'll get you girls back to the village. No sane ninja would mess with you if I'm with you, the last Senju told them, as she handed them each a soldier pill. They knew this to be true from what they learned about her in history, and from what they've seen for themselves. She was a force to be reckoned with, and just the mere mention of her super strength made a couple of the Ryazanpaku masters cringe. The girls all followed after the legendary Kunoichi, as she tried to keep a slow enough pace for them to follow. Back in the village, Shiger had already informed the Hokage of Naruto's victory, and of the treachery of Kakashi and Sasuke. The old man was torn between pride for Naruto, and his selfless courage, and disgust for what remained of Team 7. The remainder of Team 7 was a mockery of what a Kanona ninja really was, with an arrogant brat, a brain-dead fangirl, and a biased sensei. Kakashi wasn't going to escape punishment this time. Take Naruto-kun to the hospital to treat his wounds and fatigue, and get yourself looked at, as well, Shiger-chan. The elderly Hokage told her with a grandfatherly smile, sending her on her way, as she nodded, and took off. Kakashi, Manado, and Kushina would rip you apart if they were alive, and saw what you have done to their child. There are special places in hell for people like you. Once she arrived there, she ran into Akisame, and Apachai, who had protected it during the fighting. Akisame asked what had happened to his young student, and after he was told, he was filled with pride. I knew he could do it. He just needed to believe that he could. Appa, Naruto-chan's alright, Apachai cheered. He was very fond of Naruto, and it just wouldn't do for his student and playmate to get hurt. Of course he is Apachai-kun. I must be getting back to my rounds now, Akasame replied, as he got back to work. However, he was worried about Kakashi's conduct, and what he would have done, and gotten away with had Shigeru not shown up. Hatake will bear watching, as will the Uchiha, and the Harino. There is something about them that makes me ill at ease, the mustachioed man thought, as he returned to his work. It was an hour later that Hayato had everyone, including a now-conscious Naruto, the girls, and the 2 Sannin, gathered in the Hokage's office, which was still in one piece miraculously, to explain what had happened with them during the invasion. Sarutobi knew he could count on his old friend, and his fellow masters to come through in a pinch, but the masters had proven to be ludicrously effective. Akasame had prevented a good number of deaths and crippling injuries while Apachai protected the hospital, and the streets around it. Kensei, Sakaki, Gai, and Yo prevented any innocent deaths at the stadium where Kakashi had abandoned his post. Finally, Naruto and the girls stopped the Sand siblings, and Naruto himself stopped Gaara's rampage. After they were done, he dismissed them for the day to get some rest. He was so proud of all of them, he really was. Gai, Hinata, Raichi, and Naruto were to receive a commendation for valor along with 2 other Chunin who had distinguished themselves in the line of duty, Ikki Takeda and Nanjo Kizara, in a ceremony that was to take place in the next 3 days. They were also going to announce the results of the Chunin exams, who made it, and who didn't. After they had gotten through debriefing Sarutobi, he called for Kakashi to be brought in to explain himself, as well as Sasuke and Sakura for their own actions before and during the invasion. As expected, Sasuke was completely unrepentant. He believed that he was wronged first by being disqualified, and his chance for advancement given to Naruto. He arrogantly thought that since he was an Uchiha, everyone should be bending over backwards to cater to his whims. So you think that you, a genin, is above his superiors? I have news for you, boy. Your name will not get you anywhere in this room. We are all people who have earned our strength and reputations through hard work, not by having everyone just give things to us. Tsunade's grandfather and great-uncle were both Hokages, but she made a name for herself completely on her own. She refused special treatment, and worked hard to become the woman she is now. I had no clan to claim, no special bloodline to help me, but here I am now, the one who trained the legendary Yondaime to be who he was. Even the Sandaime Hokage had no bloodline or clan, and he rose to become who he is today with hard work. Don't talk to the US about privilege or prestige. Don't you dare talk to us about tragedy and hardship. As of now, due to your own actions before and during the invasion, your shinobi license has been suspended for a period of 6 months, during which time, if you practice any of the shinobi arts or engage any sort of training, you will have your chakra sealed, and will be imprisoned on the charges of disobeying a direct order from your superiors, attempted murder of a fellow Konohanin, and false accusations. You have been warned. Jiraiya dictated before the shinobi tribunal, which was made up of only the shinobi clan heads, the Sandaime's advisors, and the ANBU commander. It was they who would decide a shinobi's fate when they broke the law, and this was especially severe. These charges were accrued during a time of war, and he could have gotten the death sentence had the advisors not protested to give him a second chance. The clan heads were pushing for imprisonment, and Heishi was pushing for death. The Uchiha put his own daughter at risk with his reckless actions, and he refused to let it go unpunished. Sakura was also unrepentant, believing that Naruto should have just given his slot to Sasuke, and kept his mouth shut. One glare from Tsunade made her wet herself, as she tried to make herself invisible out of sheer fright. However, it was Tsum Inuzuka that opened up with a verbal barrage. She took fangirls as a personal insult, and she was quite fond of Naruto. She saw a lot of herself in the scrappy young blonde, as well as much of a dear friend of hers, and this little brat was the one who kept grinding her heel into him. Such a spineless weakling. You fangirls are a menace, a plague to all serious kunoichi like Tsunade-sama, and myself. The Uzumaki boy earned his spot in the finals while the Uchiha thought that he was beyond reproach. Then, you saw fit to talk down to the Hokage, your leader of all people, all for the sake of some insignificant crush? How dare you, you ignorant little girl, Tsum fumed. Look at you, a pathetic excuse for a kunoichi. Fangirls really are a despicable breed, shunning all else, even common sense, just so their crush will look at them. You even tried to threaten the Hokage, and you were lucky to come away alive. Either Jiraiya or myself could have killed you at any time. Never mind the ANBU. We will need pathetic creatures such as you polluting our ranks. If I ever hear of anything like this again, I will expect you to turn in your headband, and have your chakra sealed, what little that you have. Now get out of my sight. Just the sight of you disgusts me. Tsunade tore into the pink-haired girl. She honestly needed this if she were to make anything of herself. Kakashi was a mess of contradictions and excuses. He truly believed that he was doing the right thing in stunting Naruto's growth, and throwing everything else away to teach Sasuke. He used the excuse that Obito would have wanted him to teach Sasuke. Jiraiya just couldn't take it anymore. Enough with your excuses, Hatake. You are a Jounin sensei. And a sensei does not sacrifice his other students for a personal preference. Manado would be so ashamed of you, as would Obito and Rin. You have become a pathetic mockery of what a shinobi really is. I don't need you mucking up the boy's life any further than you already have. Naruto is hereby removed from Team 7, and you are now under watch, pending a full investigation into your teaching methods. Should your performance be found unsatisfactory, you will never be allowed to take a genin team again, nor will you take any apprentices. If you violate these orders, you will be removed from service, and your Sharingan will be removed, your chakra sealed, and all erased from your mind. Now leave. I'm sick of looking at you. Jiraiya finished, ordering Kakashi to leave, and not come back. Sarutobi was impressed with Jiraiya's outburst. He dealt the well-deserved punishment with a firm hand. I believe I found my successor. I'm so proud of how far you've come, Jiraiya, the old Hokage thought. Jiraiya, as you know, I am getting too old for this job. I had already retired once, but I need to hand off the robes for good this time. I believe that you are the best person for the job. The old Sandaime confided in his two students. Jiraiya was stunned. He always believed that he would be the trainer of Hokages, not actually himself. Sensei, are you sure? I mean, I'm not exactly the best person for the job. I was always the dead last. Orochimaru and Tsunade both made Jounin before I made Chunin, and I was never good enough. So why now? He asked, in total disbelief. Tsunade knew what he was talking about. When they were younger, she and Orochimaru tormented him with their Jounin vests while he was still a genin. She thought back to the hurt look on his face, and she nearly teared up. She had to admit now, more than ever, he was truly deserving of what had been presented to him. He was always told that he wasn't good enough, and passed over. He had to watch, as his student literally suicide to stop the QB, and was forced to watch while his godson was abused, but couldn't do anything to stop it without putting him in mortal danger. Sarutobi was really kicking himself for his part in Jiraiya's plight. It was one of the things that drove him to perversion and debauchery, to write his famous, or infamous depending on your gender and or preference, Ika series, and appeared to be a drunken, lecherous fool. Underneath, was a lethal, competent shinobi, and master spy. He was the one who trained Manado to be the legend that he became, and his next student would more than likely become Hokage. He was more worthy of becoming Hokage than anyone else right now. He had proven his worth through his loyalty time and time again. Jiraiya, for what it's worth, I'm sorry for how I was when we were younger. I had no right to tease you and treat you like I did. I was no better than that little Haruno tramp at times over Orochimaru. I know that this is pretty late coming, but I truly am sorry. Tsunade apologizing to her old teammate and most trusted friend. Jiraiya had already forgiven her. He forgave her years ago, but an apology was always welcome. From Tsunade, apologies were few and far between, so he knew that this was as genuine as it could get. It's okay, Haim. I forgave you years ago. It's in the past, so just let it go, he told her gently, as she hugged him. Congratulations, you big pervert, she told him. Could have done without the pervert part, but I'll take what I can get. Jiraiya sighed, as he chuckled. Jiraiya, I'll announce you as my successor tomorrow after the promotions and commendations are awarded. You will be the Godame Hokage, Sarutobi told him seriously, as he bade them good night. Jiraiya, you have truly grown from the irresponsible boy I knew long ago. I know that Naruto's future is in good hands, and in the scheming councils. He will have the life that was denied to him for so long, and fulfill his destiny to become a wise and powerful Hokage in his own right with you, Tsunade, Hayato, and the masters to guide him along the path, and the girls to support him, Sarutobi said aloud in his office, as he turned in for the night. 3 days later, stage in front of Hokage Tower. The rise of the sun 3 days later saw almost all of the villagers in front of Hokage Tower, as the Hokage had an announcement to make, and the rumors of a new Hokage were running rampant. There wasn't much to do, mainly due to the fact that the Ryozanpaku masters had kept damage within the village, and losses to a bare minimum, so there were few repairs to be done. There was also the rumor that the results of the Chunin exams were to be announced. Many of the villagers were actually hoping that the council had promoted the Uchiha, and threw out Naruto's matches. On the contrary, many shinobi were hoping Naruto got promoted, due to the fact that he earned it by fighting 3 times in a row, and winning each one with superior tactics and skill. In addition to that, they had heard that it was Naruto that stopped Tsuna's Jinchuriki when he raged out of control. Finally, the Hokage himself, flanked by his 2 loyal students, the Sannin, had arrived on the stage in a plume of smoke. He scanned the crowd of civilians and shinobi, reading their mood, as he began to speak. Citizens and shinobi of Konoha, I am glad to find that almost all of you are unharmed after this sudden and unprovoked attack on our village. We have our brave shinobi to thank for this boon. However, he paused for dramatic effect. We have some very special individuals to thank for our safety. I would like them to come up to the stage now so that their valor may be recognized. He paused again, preparing to read off the names until someone shouted out, "I hope Sasuke-kun gets promoted." A recently released Sakura Haruno screeched to the embarrassment of her mortified parents, garnering an annoyed groan from some of the shinobi who were tired of always hearing about how great that Uchiha kid was. Sakura's folks were greatly embarrassed by the shameful actions of their daughter when they had to go to the A&B lockup and bail her out. They really tried to do everything in their power to curb her slave-like devotion to the last Uchiha, but she was already too far along, and her psyche too twisted to fix without some massive psychotherapy from the Yamanaka clan. However, since Sakura and Ino have been at odds, and Sakura has been so nasty to Inoichi's daughter, they fear that the help she needs may be beyond her. Her parents just could not figure out the attraction. He was just one kid, and pretty average, as far as the Uchiha went, not to mention that the Uzumaki kid had a harder time with Niji Hyuga, and the Suna kid than the vaunted Uchiha. He couldn't be all that great. Naruto smacked him around like he did, but to Naruto's credit, he had improved by leaps and bounds in such a short period of time, and mastered two incredibly difficult. If he earned the trust of the Toads like the Yondaime did, that was enough to tell them that he was truly something special, because the Toads wouldn't trust just anyone to summon them in combat. Then there was the tantrum that Sasuke threw down in the arena, and the fact that he was willing to kill his own teammate in an exam match. Sarutobi looked annoyed at who was shouting, but continued on with his speech. As I was saying before I was interrupted, I would like these people to stand up here with me and be recognized. Mado Gai, Hyuga Hinata, Lee Raichi, Uzumaki Naruto, Ma Renka, Furinji Myo, Nanju Kazara, and Takeda Eki, you have all served Konoha with distinction in its hour of need. We need heroes such as yourselves to continue to serve our village with exemplary honor and courage that you have displayed. For your selfless courage in the face of extreme danger, I, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage of Konoha, present you all with the Medal of Valor with recommendations from the Fire Daimyo, and blessings and gratitude from several other dignitaries. You make us all proud. The old man beamed with pride as he personally pinned each of the recipients. Kurenai looked on with tear-filled eyes. The shy little girl she first met had earned one of the most prestigious awards that could be bestowed upon a shinobi. She had truly matured, and from what she had heard, as of late, she was engaged to marry the boy she has had a crush on since she was just a little girl, and he seems to feel the same way about her. Hayashi was just as proud of his daughter. She had brought a great honor to the Hyuga clan, being the first Hyuga to receive this token of valor, an honor from not only the daimyo, but other dignitaries and rulers. He was also proud of Naruto for showing devotion to his daughter. Not for the first time, he thanked Kami, and the stars above that this was the boy who was to marry his eldest daughter, not to mention a certain Yellow Flash and Red Death for conceiving said blessing. Kensei and Tenman were both equally proud of their daughters and the formidable team they proved to be teamed up with their fellow bride and the groom-to-be. It was further proof that their decision to honor the marriage pact was one of the best ideas they had in their lives. Kizara and Takeda both smirked as they bumped fists. The two made an awesome team, and had been since their genin days. They only wished that Yukita could be there with them to witness this day, and curse the traitor, Taichi Koga, that damned him to his death. They were, however, glad that they made him pay for his crimes by bringing him to Ibiki Marino for interrogation. From there, he fessed up to being in league with another, unfriendly power in exchange for money and influence once he defected. Now, he was merely locked away within his own mind, turned into a world of pain thanks to someone even the boogeyman checks under the bed for before he goes to sleep. The masters and Naruto's new family were all genuinely proud of him and Yo for their bravery and placing the lives of the innocent and defenseless above their own, a credo which the Ryuzanpaku was built upon. They brought honor to their way of life. Sakura and many of Naruto's naysayers were all livid, hopping mad. He was awarded a high honor while Sasuke wasn't even mentioned. Sakura's haggard parents, unable to restrain her any longer, lose their grip as she storms up to the foot of the stage and begins to verbally assault him. Thankfully, the exam proctor from before, Ginma, nailed her with a well aimed to the back of her neck and knocked her out before she could disrupt this ceremony any further. Unfortunately, she got a majority of the civilians going in a rant about how the demon was really responsible for the attack and that it should be dealt with, but they too were silenced, courtesy of one Shio Sakaki, who made them shut the hell up with one of his power glares. I found out later on that he made a few of them faint, and a couple more suffered mild heart attacks. With these disruptions out of the way, Sarutobi got on with the ceremony. I also have the results of the exam in. Would Aburame Shino and Naro Shikamaru join Uzumaki Naruto on the stage at this time? He asked, grinning a little at the shocked expressions on the faces of the two genin who were called out. Go on, Shikamaru. Shikaku urged his son into motion. Shino, stand and be recognized. Shibi nudged his stunned son. The two fathers were very proud of their sons for making Chunin off of their first exam. To them, it just went to show that this crop of genin had some truly talented ninja. Also, all three were from the three rookie teams, shocking the other shinobi in the crowd even further. Ino was proud of Shikamaru for making Chunin, and truly impressed that Naruto made it, as well. How about that? The three uncool and unpopular guys were the ones who got promoted instead of so-called geniuses. It's like a kind of justice in its own way. Way to go, guys. I'm proud of you all, the ponytailed girl thought, as she smiled. Not all of the shinobi were happy for them. Kiba and Sasuke were both glowering at the three. Kiba was jealous that Shino was promoted, feeling that his position as teammate's self-proclaimed alpha was in peril. Now that Shino had rank on his side, any move made against him would be seen as insubordination. To add insult to injury, Naruto made it, too. Damn that dude, not only does he get promoted to Chunin, he also has MY chosen female. Why him when that idiot had no clan? He thought in a rage. Where did that dun get so much power? Who gave it to him? I must have it. I need it more than some lame, clanless idiot. Can't they see that? Sasuke seethed with anger. Kakashi was also watching the proceedings with narrowed eyes. In his mind, Naruto was the catalyst that toppled his reputation among the other jounin. The rest wouldn't even spare him a glance, and his old ANBU squad was snubbing him, especially Yugogo. She had some pretty nasty words for him, amplified by the fact that Hate was killed before the invasion, and he had the nerve to trash-talk her dead lover. I swear he will pay for my disgrace, they'll all pay, he vowed, as he watched on. These three genin showed superior tactics, bravery, skill, and ability. All of these things, combined with a sense of responsibility, are what is necessary to become a Chunin. It is with great pleasure that I promote these three to the rank of Chunin, Sarutobi announced, as he handed each of them their Chunin flak vests. Wear them with pride, as you represent Konoha whenever you step outside of her borders, he added. The three wore looks of shock and awe, as the three gobsmacked boys, yes, even Shino can look shocked, slipped on their vests for the first time. The applause that came from the shinobi was like rolling thunder, as they were given a standing ovation for their accomplishment, a major milestone in their careers. Sarutobi once again held up his hands to halt the applause. He still had one more surprise in store for the crowd. Now I have been a Hokage for a total of over 40 years. It is time that I turn over the position of Hokage to the one person that I trust to carry on the will of fire. This person has overcome so much in his life to make it to where he is today. He was once looked upon as a failure, a nobody, a joke. He was not a prodigy. He had no clan lineage to back him up, no powerful bloodline to help him along his way. He built himself up from nothing, never giving up, nor did he give in. This someone is none other than. He paused for dramatic effect. Sarutobi truly loved to grandstand with his speeches, and knew how to hold the crowd's attention and fan the suspense. I swear he really loves to get on his proverbial soapbox. Tsunade mused with a smirk. Sarutobi's advisors were nearly biting their nails. They had failed to catch the Chunin list in time so they could doctor it, as Sarutobi never let it out of his sight, and Kakashi's story was shot down. They had no idea who Sarutobi chose to be his successor. Once they caught wind of Sarutobi wanting to retire, they wanted to install a puppet Hokage in Kakashi. But now, none other than Jiraiya. Sarutobi finished with a huge grin on his face. That grin got even wider when he saw the shocked expressions on his ex-teammates' faces, as well as the enraged look on Danzo's face. As the position of Hokage had once again slipped from his grasp, Jiraiya stepped up to the old man, and accepted the robes and hat from his old teacher with a calm smile, but on the inside, he was fighting with everything he had to hold back his tears. He was deeply honored to accept this position, as he put on the robes of his new station. Now, he had the power to right many wrongs, and better protect the godson that he was forced to neglect, the godson that had quickly become his grandson. He already had his first target in his crosshairs, the civilian council. They had been responsible for so much corruption, so much needless suffering. He would start by making an example of his sensei's two old teammates. Even though since the regime has changed, they stubbornly held on to their positions, chasing away anyone else who wanted the job. They refused to relinquish the power and authority they held. Even though they were two of the people who had planned out the Uchiha massacre, they still spoiled the last Uchiha remaining in the village and had become drunk with power. Jiraiya was going to really enjoy yanking that power away from them, and the council, returning most governing powers back to the Hokage and the Shinobi Council, and returning the village back to the way it was back when the Yondaime was in power, where the privileged and so-called elite wouldn't have so much sway. Like you tried to create, and were betrayed for. I'll try to make your dream a reality. I know that your son will gladly continue this legacy of equality and justice once he is ready to take up the mantle, Jiraiya thought, as he put on the vestments of his station. As he tried to put the hat on, he found that it wouldn't quite fit over his hair. Oh well, Minato never really wore this thing, and for the same reason, too. He chuckled as the ceremony went on. The ceremony had wound down, and Naruto was sought out by two of his fellow awardees, Kazara and Takeda. So a big, bad Chunin now, eh? Takeda greeted with a grin, as he missed Naruto's hair. Takeda, lay off the kid, alright? He doesn't even know who we are, Kazara admonished, but turned to him. Hey kiddo, we saw your fights in the tournament, and we were pretty impressed. I wouldn't mind having a spar with you, maybe the idiot here too. I'm Nanju Kazara, by the way, the redhead offered, as she rubbed her partner. Easy there, Kazara-chan. Though, I wouldn't mind having a spar with our newest Chunin myself. I'd like to get to know who I might work with in the future, and I'm Takeda Iki. Just call me Takeda. The ashen-haired young man winked good-naturedly. Naruto was a little weirded out by these two, but could tell that they were being friendly. Besides, he really didn't mind the opportunity to expand his experience base a little wider. Also, as a Chunin, he might wind up working with these two in the near future, and it would be good to make some new friends. Sure, I don't mind. Come on by the dojo later today. Here's how you get there. Naruto cheered, as he handed them directions before sprinting off at a rapid clip. He sure is an energetic little guy, and kind of a cutie, too. Hard to believe that he's the container of the QB. Kazara mused with a small grin. She felt that she could really get to like this kid. Something about what they were planning, taking him onto their Chunin team, seemed right, like he would fit right in. Takeda could feel it too. His cheerful attitude, combined with what they saw during his matches, made him an ideal match for them. He almost seemed like a little brother he'd like to have, if he had one. The crowd broke up, and the people all went about their business, with Jiraiya heading back to the Hokage's office with Tsunade and Sarutobi. It seemed as if telling the boy about his folks would have to wait just a bit longer, at least until he could settle in. Tsunade had already taken over the hospital, but was ready to hand over the reins to Shizen so that she could spend more time with her godson and actually adopt him. Jiraiya was already planning on making her one of his advisors, with the old man being the other. Naruto hadn't forgotten about that, however. Hey Kyufu, wait up, he called out to him. What's up, kiddo? Jiraiya asked, already knowing what Naruto wanted. Well, I made Chunin like you said, so can you tell me? I mean about who my folks are? Naruto asked, his eyes hopeful. I'll come by the dojo tonight. I'll tell you there. I need to get back to the office to get settled in, so I'll see you later. Okay, brat? Jiraiya told his godson, ruffling his hair playfully. Thanks, Kyufu. Will you be coming too, Oba-chan? Gigi? He asked the other two. Sure, I'll drop by, Nara-chan. I'll even bring Shizen, the beautiful blonde told him, as she pulled him into a hug. He got a huge grin at the mention of Shizen. She was an awesome cook, better than Neo, although he wouldn't say it aloud. She saw her as another older sister, one that doted on and fussed over him left and right. As will I, my boy, Sarutobi added. He too knew the truth, but hid it from the world to protect him until he was strong enough. From what Naruto had proven to him, it was finally time. The time to finally learn about who he really is has finally come. This ought to shake things up a bit. At the very least, these fools here in the village will eat a huge shit pie once they find out just who they've been abusing all these years. At least he didn't grow up spoiled like that Uchiha brat, Tsunade thought with a smirk. On a hilltop overlooking the village, two figures stood on a distant hilltop overlooking the village, taking in the view. These two figures were of two very different heights, but both wore the same black cloaks with red clouds, complete with straw hats with a veil all around the brim. I heard that Konoha was just attacked, but it looks like nothing happened. Pretty impressive. I didn't know that your old home village had such good shinobi, Itachi, the taller one commented, lifting his head to reveal his face. He had blue skin, gills, and serrated teeth, like a shark. The shinobi were not this good when I left. No, I have a feeling that they are still around. It would be prudent to exercise caution, Kisame Itachi warned. Who are they, Itachi? Anyone that can rattle you would have to be some pretty nasty customers. Customers I'd love to fight. Kisame grinned in his shark-like manner. Just don't underestimate them. It would be very foolish. I doubt that even Might Tsukuyami would work on them, Itachi replied. The last time someone from the Uchiha clan tried to mess with one of the Ryuzanpaku, and tried using some Sharingan Dijitsu on them, it was worse than ineffective. It only seemed to annoy them. You seem scared of these guys, Kisame commented cockily, as he walked down into the village. Itachi shook his head, and followed, although reluctantly. He knew that these people were something other than human. Thanks for watching my video, and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic. Link is in the description. See you next time, till then sayonara.